Fatima. Well, welcome everyone to today's session on spirituality, political religion, and lived experience in Iran. My name is Ali Bedad, and I want to welcome you all to this panel on behalf of my colleague at the Center for Near Eastern Studies at UCLA. Before I introduce my dear friend and colleague, Dr. Nayeret Tauhidi, who will introduce the speakers and moderate this panel, I would like to say a couple words about the program and about our center. This program is organized in collaboration with MESA's Global Academy, which we are a member of. And I would like to thank everyone at the Global Academy uh, for their support and for including us in this program. So thank you. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with the Center for Near Eastern Studies at UCLA, CNES is a research hub where over 100 faculty from humanities, social sciences, arts, and the law school collaborate in a variety of research and pedagogical projects. Founded in 1957, it's one of the oldest and most distinguished U.S. centers for interdisciplinary research on the Middle East, broadly construed, including Iran, the Persianate world, Turkey, the Arab world, and North Africa. We provide a forum for the exchange of ideas and the dissemination of information and knowledge within and beyond the campus, offering cutting-edge research and fresh perspectives on the challenges and cultural richness of the Middle East. Now, it is my really great pleasure now to introduce Dr. Nayeret Tauhidi, who is a professor emeriti and former chair of Gender and Women's Studies and the founding director of the Middle Eastern and Islamic Studies at California State University in Northridge. She's also a research associate at our center, and where she coordinates the bilingual lecture series on Iran. She's been doing that since 2003, and we're extremely grateful to her for doing this amazing work. She specializes in the field of gender, Islam, feminism, modernity, democracy, ethnicity, and ethno-religious movements, as well as human and women's rights in Persianate and Turkic society of the Middle East, the Caucasus, and Central Asia, and has published widely on this topic. I will not have time to mention all of her work, but I just mentioned a couple work that she has done. She's the author of Feminism, Democracy by Islam Garavi, translated in English as Feminism, Democracy, and Islamicism in Iran, which was published in 1996. It was published in Persian and was reprinted. And she also an editor of Globalization, Religion, and Gender, the Politics of Women's Right in Catholic and Muslim Context, which was published by Palgrave Press as well. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Tauhidi to the virtual podium. Dr. Tauhidi?
Sure. Thank you so much, Dr. Ali Behdad, my good friend, good colleague, and director of the Center for Near Eastern Studies, professor of comparative literature at UCLA. It's an honor, actually, for me and pleasure that I got this opportunity to be at a panel with these three wonderful scholars from Iran who have been selected as global MESA Global Academy's fellows. That's a wonderful achievement, and I'm proud of all of you. And so I just always look forward to meeting and learning from younger and intelligent, vibrant scholars like you. And thank you, Dr. Behdad. Thank you, Dr. Badima. And thank you, Dr. Shireen Abby, for inviting me and for giving me this opportunity. So without any further ado, given that we have limited time, I'm going to introduce our first speaker. And the way we want to run this panel, as we have all agreed, is to introduce each speaker, and after her talk, introduce the second one, and then the third one, and then afterwards, I will ask one question from each of you, and then we'll open it to the audience online, and they can put their questions on the Q&A, not on the chat section, but on Q&A, so that we can see it. I can read them out loud to our speakers. The first speaker today is Dr. Leyla Tajer, who is an Iranian scholar specializing in Islamic studies, comparative religion, and Sufi literature. She earned her PhD from the International Islamic University, in Malaysia, where she won the Best PhD Student Award for the dissertation on love in Sufi and Hindu traditions. Dr. Tajer reviews and let me just mention some of her works. She has presented at 27 international conferences already and has published 16 research articles, 14 book reviews, and 2 books. Currently, she is a MESA Global Academy Scholar, and during the year 2024-25, and the co-investigator of at the Oxford Center for Christianity and Culture. She advocates for gender equality and women's empowerment. Dr. Tajer, we are all ears to hear your talk.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tauhidi, for your amazing introduction. Hi, everyone. It's truly an honor to be here today and to share with you a topic that's very close to my heart, which is from nafs to tranquility, Rumi's path of love and self-transcendence. As many of you know, Rumi, the world-renowned Persian mystical poet who lived in 13th century, was a passionate lover of God. What makes his writing so unique is the way he expressed his deep spiritual emotions through a poetic, often unorthodox style. In his Masnavi, also known as Ishqname, or the book of love, love is introduced as a fundamental element for a spiritual experience. In the Masnavi, love is discussed at various levels: universal, personal, spiritual, and mundane. Rumi's poetry is more than just beautiful verse. It is a spiritual guide. It's a kind of roadmap. He saw his work as a poetic commentary on the Quran, drawing from earlier Islamic thinkers like Ghazali, Sohrawardi, Sanai, and Atta. But to truly know the Rumi himself, we must meet him in his own word. So in Divan Shams, he introduced himself as like this: "What is to be done, O Muslims? For I do not know myself. I am neither Christian, nor Jew, nor Zoroastrian, nor Muslim. I am not of the East, nor of the West, nor of the land, nor of the sea, nor of the heaven circling above. I am not made of earth, nor of water, nor of wind, nor fire, nor of the divine throne, nor the carpet, nor the cosmos, nor mineral. I am not from India, nor China, nor Bulgaria, nor Turkestan. I am not from the kingdom of the two Iraqs, nor from the earth of Khorasan. Neither of this world nor the next. I am nor of heaven, nor of hell. Nor from Adam, nor from Eve, nor from Eden, nor Rizwan. My place is the placeless. My trace is the traceless. I have neither nobody nor soul, for I am of the beloved's essence. I have cast aside duality. I have seen the two worlds as one. One I seek, one I know, one I see, one I say. And in the original language, that was a translation. He says, چه تدبیر ای مسلمانان که من خود را نمیدانم، نه ترسان نه یهودم من، نه گبرم نه مسلمانم، نه شرقیم نه غربیم نه بریم نه بحریم، نه از کان طبیعیم نه از افلاک گردانم، نه از خاکم نه از آبم نه از بادم نه از آتش، نه از عرشم نه از فرشم نه از کونم نه از کانم، نه از هندم نه از چینم نه از بلغار و سقسینم، نه از ملک عراقینم نه از خاک خراسانم، نه از دنیا نه از عقبا نه از جنت نه از دوزخ، نه از آدم نه از حوا، نه از فردوس و رضوانم. مکانم لا مکان باشد، نشانم بی نشان باشد، نه تن باشد نه جان باشد که من از جان جانانم. So today, I invite you to join me on this journey, exploring how Rumi guides us from the lower level of the self or nafs or ego, all the way to inner peace and self-realization, using love as the compass for the transformation. So he suggests us in Divan Shams, اگر تو یار نداری چرا طلب نکنی و اگر به یار رسیدی چرا طرب نکنی، به کاهلی بنشینی که این عجب کاریست، عجب تویی که هوای چنین عجب نکنی. If you have not found the beloved, why not go and seek her? If you have found her, why not be blissful? Are you wasting your life and asking what love is about? I wonder about the one who does not seek this wonder. So this is the perspective that Rumi look at the concept of love. In his informal ceremony called Fihe Ma Fih, which literally means it is in it what is in it, he said, he advises us, wherever you are, no matter what may happen, always strive to be a lover, a passionate lover. Once love has become your property, you will be a lover eternally, in the grave, at the resurrection, or in paradise forever and ever. Also, Rumi believes that love is universal. He says, اگر این آسمان عاشق نبودی، نبودی سینه او را صفایی، و اگر خورشید هم عاشق نبودی، نبودی در جمال او صفایی، زمین و کوه اگر نه عاشقندی، نرستی از دل هر دو گیاهی. If the sky was not in love, it would not have so much clarity. If the sun was not in love, there was no purity in its beauty. Farm and mountain are both lovers, or else plants wouldn't grow from their belly. Also, he mentioned عشق جز دولت و عنایت نیست. جز گشاد دل و هدایت نیست. Love is nothing but blessing and fortune, nothing but guidance and a dilated heart. So in Sufi literature, love is divided in two categories. One is divine love or true love or عشق حقیقی, which is everybody familiar with. But there is another category of love, which is earthly love or عشق زمینی. To Rumi, earthly love also is divided in two categories. One is disgrace love or عشق ننگی, and the other is pure love or عشق پاک. This terminology of عشق پاک used by Rumi for the first time in Persian literature. Before Rumi, nobody didn't talk about this terminology, ishq pak. So what is the difference between disgrace love and pure love? So the key difference is desire. Pure love is freeing. It lifts you beyond your ego, beyond your sense of self. In this kind of love, the lover forgets themselves entirely. Their only focus is the beloved. But disgraceful love is different. It is about control. It's about me, myself, mine, wanting to own. And actually, it is tied to ego, and it's often leads to suffering. If love helps you grow, opens your heart, and connects you to something greater, it is pure. And if it drags you down, feeds your selfishness, or makes you attached, it is disgraceful love. So for Rumi, love isn't just an emotion, it is a path of transformation. So here, we would talk about two journeys on the stage of love. So I suggest, based on Rumi's perspective, I suggest these two journeys. One is a journey from unpurified love to eternal love. And the second journey is a journey of self-realization from selfishness to selflessness, which these two journeys combined together, they lead a human being towards salvation or God. So let me introduce each journey. The first journey starts from disgrace love. So Rumi called disgrace love ishq nangi, and it is because it's based on desire, it's sake of outer beauty. So it dooms to perish. As Rumi says, it is ishq mordegan, love of the perish. But there is this possibility that disgrace love, based on self-realization journey, the second journey that I will explain to you, the lover or the seeker of the truth can experience pure love, which is based on sake of inner beauty. It's not about outside, it is about yourself. So pure love, after the seeker of the truth or lover experience pure love, there is this possibility that go even beyond and experience natural love, or according to Rumi, it is ishq zende, or love of the living. And then it goes even higher to reach to divine love or ishq haqiqi, and at the end reach to eternal love or ishq abadi, eternal happiness. So at this stage, the lover or the seeker of the truth feel inner peace. So according to Rumi, those love which are for the sake of a color or outward beauty are not love. In the end, they are disgrace. But Rumi believes that whether love be from this earthly side or from that heavenly side, at the end, it leads us, there is this possibility to lead us to eternal love or eternal happiness. So as I mentioned, there are two journeys involved. The first journey starts from disgrace love. Everybody can experience this. And then there is the possibility to go pure love, natural love, divine love, and eternal love. But there is another journey. The second movement is starting from selfishness, but it goes to selflessness. So because selfishness is the level that everybody, all of us, we're starting from this stage. This manifests in desire, and it's based on ego. But if we practice self-realization, if we start the journey of self-realization, we can experience selflessness, the state that is not wanting. So as I mentioned, start from here. These two movements bounding together from this grace love. The second journey happened here, from this grace love to go to pure love. In the next slide, I will explain how the self-realization journey happened. Actually, let me briefly walk you through how the Masnavi described the journey of self in Sufi literature. It's Sufi thought, actually. So it outlines three main stages of the self, each one marking a step on the spiritual path. So it starts from the first stage that is called Nafsul Ammara. This is Quranic terminology, or commanding self. This is the part of us that gives into desire, actually, pushing us towards selfishness and harmful choice. But the second stage is Nafsul Lawwame, or the blaming self. At this stage, here a shift happens. A person starts to reflect, to feel remorse, to question their actions, and it is the beginning of self-awareness and inner struggle. So there is the possibility that if you experience this stage, again, go down to the first stage because of ego, because of greed or lust, and again, go back to the evaluation self, because you are self-aware. So this is a kind of lifelong journey. It's not that, okay, if we pass this stage, we never come back. So this is really challenging. And the final stage, that is the highest stage, is Nafsul Mutma'inna, or the tranquil self. At this point, the ego no longer controls us. The soul is at peace and grounded and content. So this is the true goal of the spiritual path, and to move from chaos to clarity, from ego to peace. And at this stage, the lover or the seeker of the truth experience self at peace. So to wrap up, Rumi saw love not just as an emotion, but to him, love is a universal force, the energy that keeps the entire universe alive. So this is love. For Rumi, the highest form of love is the kind of love that leads to freedom and spiritual growth. This kind of love begins with self-awareness. And in the powerful saying of the prophetic hadith, we have this hadith: whoever knows himself knows his Lord. And Sufi also believe that everything we need to understand about the universe, about God, already exists within us. We just only have to uncover it, as Imam Ali also said, Alam Saghir and Alam Kabir. So they mention, what is not in a man, he cannot know. Therefore, he could not know God and all the mysteries of the universe unless he found them in himself. So in the end, the path of self-realization, the second journey, is really a path toward divine truth. So, but reaching this level isn't easy. It takes discipline, patience, and continuous effort. The seeker must constantly refine their character, purify their intention, and align their action with higher values to reach through spiritual maturity. So before we end, I want to leave you with a question. If, as Rumi says, the truth of the universe is already within us, then what is it in you that still waits to be discovered, loved, and set free? Let that question stay with you, and not just for today, but as you continue your own journey. And thank you so much for being here. And that concludes my presentation for today. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Dr. Tajer. It was wonderful. Sorry that we didn't have more time. I had to just warn you about the end of the time. You passed it only 1 minute. But we hope that we can stay in time and on time. Okay, the next speaker. By the way, when you're speaking, I close my camera, and when I come back, it means that you are almost at the end of your time. So that's a sign for that. Second speaker, Dr. Maryam Heydarkhani, whose research interests encompass a broad spectrum within architecture, art history, and cultural heritage, with a primary focus on Islamic art and architecture of Iran. She has explored diverse topics such as architectural forms in Islamic societies, comparative studies between Islamic and European perspectives, and the evolution of architecture in Iran. Her doctoral dissertation focused on the relation of form and life by focusing on the social role of Qajar madrasas, revealing insights into their transition into sociopolitical hubs during Iran's constitutional era. She plans to expand this research by investigating the transition from Safavid to Qajar madrasas, with a focus on the influence of religious ceremonies and women's attendance. Dr. Heydarkhani's ultimate goal is to illuminate the complexities of Islamic cultural heritage and its significance in today's global context. She's a MESA Global Academy Fellow, as you all heard about it. And right now also she has a fellowship as Barakat postdoctoral scholar at the Khalili Research Center, University of Oxford. So we are having her from now England, United Kingdom. We are all ears, Dr. Heydarkhani. Please start your talk.
Thank you so much for the introduction. I'm going to start immediately because of the time. Okay. Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for being here. Today, I want to explore how we can understand architecture, especially in Qajar, Iran, through the lens of everyday life, how people lived, prayed, studied, and even resisted authority within these spaces. Architecture is often viewed as static, as something that stands while history happens around it. We usually read buildings through their form, style, or construction. But when we shift our lens to everyday life, we begin to see architecture not as a passive backdrop to history, but as an active participant. Today, I will focus on how the Qajar madrasas evolved from mainly educational institutions into religious hubs and political centers, reflecting a large social transformation in 19th century Iran. Although my focus will be on madrasas, but the insights apply broadly to the whole architecture and how it participates in urban and social transformation. Before diving in, I'd like to clarify two key terms in my title. The first is Qajar, referring to the last pre-modern dynasty in Iranian history ruling from 1789 to 1925. The second is madrasa, a term used for various educational institutions within the Islamic world. Traditionally, it refers to a religious school or college focused on Islamic studies, but other subjects could also be taught. Before Qajar period, madrasas were typically eccentric, a quiet courtyard surrounded by student chambers or hujras on two levels, usually with one main entrance and no public spaces like a mosque. These were isolated environments designed for solitude, study, and reflection, as you can see on the Khoshk Madrasa in Isfahan from Safavid period. In the Qajar period, we see the emergence and expansion of a new building type that combined mosque and madrasa's functions. This led to a wide variety of spatial form and organization. Some didn't have any mosque like Madrasa Sadr in Isfahan. Some complexes had two distinct courtyards, one for the mosque and one for the madrasa, like Sheikh Abdul Hussein Madrasa in Tehran. As you can see, the mosque is on the right, surrounded by a courtyard, and the madrasa is on the left with another courtyard. And some others has all together around a main courtyard. As you can see here in Sepahdari Madrasa, in the south, we do have a mosque, and on the other side of the courtyard, we do have madrasa. And in some others, for separation and integration, they use different levels, like Sayyid Mosque in Isfahan. As you can see, chambers are on the upper level around another courtyard. And in Agha Buzurg Mosque in Kashan, that we do have mosque on upper level and hujras goes down. So we can ask, why such variations, and how did these spatial arrangements affect the everyday lives of those who inhabited them and vice versa? To understand these spaces, first we need to know how madrasas functioned as in everyday life. So the educational life in the madrasas of this period was a continuation of the traditional educational system. It often involved living in a small chamber or hujra within the madrasa. Typically, each hujra accommodated 2 students. In addition to serving as a place to live, rest, sleep, and eat, the hujra was also used for studying and reflection. The main duty of students in the madrasa was to engage in their studies, which could involve attending classes, reading, discussion, and other related activities. Students were required to remain at the madrasa throughout the day. Usually working outside the madrasa was only permitted for 1 or 2 hours at most. But the integration of mosques into madrasas made public prayer a central element of everyday life. Daily congregational prayers often transformed the madrasa into a public religious site, extending beyond the private sphere of the students. In some cases, these ceremonies or the mosque's role within the complex became so significant that the complex was regarded as the city's main congregational mosque or Masjid Jame, as seen in examples like Semnan, Burujerd, or Arak. Public ceremonies significantly altered the madrasa's schedule and daily life. During months like Ramadan and Muharram, important religious months for Muslim and Shia, the usual routines changed dramatically. In Ramadan, because of daily fast, classes slowed down or stopped entirely, while nighttime activities increased and madrasas filled with prayers and religious gatherings. In Muharram, ceremonies such as Heydarkhani or morning rituals took over the madrasas, transforming both the use and the atmosphere of the space. Because of the importance and popularity of these rituals, some madrasas developed dedicated spaces for such ceremonies, often referred to as tekiye. This was especially common during the Nasirid period in Tehran. In some cases, the madrasa and tekiye were so closely linked that their names were used interchangeably, similar to how mosques and madrasas often overlapped in using for naming the complex. A good example of this can be seen with the Muayyer madrasa on historical map of Tehran that mentioned as tekiye instead of madrasa, as you can see on the picture. Because of the increasing number of public ceremonies even led to the madrasa spaces, hosting less religious events. For example, during Ramadan at the Sepah Salar Mosque in Tehran, an exposition or bazaar would sometimes be set up. As you can see on the left picture, that women are going around the bazaar in the masjid. Similarly, in Muharram, theatrical performances such as Shabih or Ta'ziyeh or dramatic reenactment of religious stories became common. Although many of ulamas opposed these performances, considering them inappropriate or overly theatrical, they were widely embraced by the public and enjoyed a strong support from the Nassereddin Shah. As you can see, the public gathering for the Ta'ziyeh in Madrasa Moshir or Hosseiniye Moshir in Shiraz on the right picture. Architectural features of madrasas started to change when hosting of public ceremonies increased within them. More gates were built up in the madrasas to allow members of the public to enter from different directions, especially busy areas such as Bazar. As you can see in Madrasa Dara, Dar Zanjan, we have three main entrances, or in Madrasa Sa'dul Mulk in Tehran, we do have a special entrance for women that could access to Tekke. And we can see also Madrasa Marvi and Madrasa Sepah Salar, all together around bazaars and main maidans in Tehran. Madrasas began to take a bigger communal role by hosting essential facilities such as ice houses, water reservoirs, bath houses, and elementary schools for kids too. As you can see, all of these things around Madrasa Marvi as a central hub for the neighbor. This shift extended the experience of madrasa life beyond male students. Women also began to participate in some ceremonies, reflecting broader patterns of public religiosity. As you can see, the most audience of the Heydarkhani in Madrasa Agha Buzurg in Kashan are women. During the Qajar period, the social role of madrasas began to shift by evolving power of the ulama. In this period, Shia's clerical authority expanded significantly. This reduced reliance on the state and allowed for more autonomous religious institutions. On the other hand, public mourning for Imam Hussein became a central feature of Qajar Shia life. The growth of tekkiyas often paralleled or intertwined with madrasas. These events reinforced ulama's authority and connected religious space to public activism. Madrasas increasingly became hubs for religious activity beyond education. They hosted public lectures, Friday sermons, different religious commemoration like Muharram, and informal theological debates that were open to a wider audience. Thus, madrasas transformed from being exclusive educational institutions to becoming central nodes in the religious life of the city. This religious expansion naturally led to a political transformation. By the second half of Qajar period, late 19th and early 20th century, madrasas were no longer just about education or even religion. They became political hubs. The ulama used madrasas as bases for mobilization, organizing protests against royal politics, disseminating political ideas, and even sheltering political dissidents. During the tobacco protest of 1891 to 1892, many madrasas became sites of resistance where scholars gathered to issue fatwas and coordinate public action against foreign concession granted by Nassereddin Shah. Similarly, during the Constitutional Revolution in 1905 to 1911, madrasas served as meeting places for revolutionaries, religious leaders, and reformists. So spaces originally designed for study were repurposed for secret meetings and political sermons. Larger public areas became arenas for mass mobilization. Thus, the evolution of the madrasa mirrored broader shifts in Iranian society as the ulama and the urban populace increasingly challenged royal authority. So the transformation of Qajar madrasas reflects deep shift in power, society, and architecture. In the early Qajar period, rulers and royal officials following Safavid traditions built grand mosque madrasa complexes to reinforce religious legitimacy and state authority. Under Fatali Shah, these institutions flourished, serving as both major mosques and centers of education in cities like Sanandaj, Semnan, or Burjerd. But by Muhammad Shah's reign, royal patronage declined and ulama and merchants stepped in as a key patrons. Their projects, such as Masjid Sayyid in Isfahan, sometimes revolved royal construction. By the Nasri period, support diversified. Some madrasas were still backed by court, but many were smaller, local, and funded by Waqf endowments, reflecting a closer connection to urban communities, as you can see in the scaled picture of the slide. This shift had powerful implications. The ulama became autonomous power brokers, and madrasas integrated more deeply into the urban fabric, serving local needs. These spaces transformed from royal projects into contested arenas of influence between state, ulama, and public. Most importantly, madrasas evolved from quiet centers of learning to dynamic spaces of political mobilization. They were no longer just places of education, but sites where religious, social, and political power was negotiated daily. In the end, Qajar madrasas were living institutions reshaped by everyday life, power struggles, and shifting urban dynamics. Thank you. And at the end, I would like to acknowledge the support of Barakat Trust, whose funding has made my ongoing research possible. I'm also grateful of MESA Global Academic and UCLA Center for Near Eastern Studies for this panel. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I wish we had more time for you to elaborate further, but I'm sorry that I feel bad to cut you. You passed only 2 minutes from your time. So let's go to the next speaker without losing any time. Dr. Zahra Khoshk is our third speaker. Her main area of expertise is the political sociology of religion. She aims to comprehend and analyze political constructions of religion and religious constructions of politics. As a constructionist, she believes that reality, be it political, social, or religious, is contextual and socially constructed, and should be understood according to its context's features, especially in regard to systems with a political religion government like that of Iran. Dr. John's approach to research methodology is qualitative, and she employs discourse analysis, critical discourse analysis, grounded theory, and content analysis. She has published many papers in English and Persian and 2 books in Iran titled Suffering in the Political Meaning System of Iranian Shiism, meaning of suffering in Iranian Shiism and Judaism, and social constructionism and the issue of meaning. She is currently investigating the political stability of Iran's government, analyzing Khamenei's viewpoint about good governance, the hijab, and civil society, and is researching the future of democracy in Iran after the Islamic Republic. She's a MESA Global Academy Fellow and Assistant Professor of Political Sociology at the University of Chicago. So many very heavy load of research projects you have. Good luck. Okay, we are all listening.
Thank you, dear Dr. Tawhidi and all people. Hello, everyone. So because the limitation of my time, I do not waste my time to tell you something about myself. This research actually, that this is a part of my book actually, it is about the Iranian Shiism as a discourse of political religion and political spirituality. In this believing, I believe that the Iranian Shiism, my means of Iranian Shiism is a Twelver Shiism that is the dominant religion in Islamic Republic of Iran. So I'm going to discursively analyze it as a political religion and also the place of political spirituality in this discourse. At first, I should explain that when we are talking about discourse, actually, we are talking about the meaning system. It means that the discourse actually it is just like a galaxy. Each galaxy is combined of many different stars, and always there is a sun at the center of a galaxy. So discourse is a galaxy. And also there is always a nodal point or a sun for each this galaxy or meaning systems that we call this sun's nodal point. This is the point, this is the nodal point that articulate all the elements of this meaning system or of this galaxy together, give them meaning, give them purpose, and even change their ritual, their ordinary meaning. And also, when I'm talking about political religion, my means that I borrowed this concept from Hannah Arendt. It was for the first time that Hannah Arendt used this concept when she was talking about totalitarianism, and also she tried to explain the ideology of Nazism and fascism, and she called them the kind of political religion. So when we talk about the political religion, we are talking about the situations that an ideology can be sacralized, and it's considered as a sacred purpose. I should mention that the political religion is completely different with political civil religion. When we are talking about civil religion, it means the sacralization, but it means the sacralization of law, rules, and maybe constitution of a nation. And it is part of sustainable development in many countries. So it is completely different with political religion. And also, a combination of these two concepts together, religion and politics. This is the matter that when we are talking about politics, we are talking about the pattern of distribution of power. And in religion, mainly we talk about what we can consider as the sacred and what are the profane thing. This is according to Durkheim, and also rituals and behaviors that they are driven from this believing system. The most common thing about the religion and ideology is that both of them, they are very strong believing and meaning system that can create and construct meaningful people, and also they can construct the purpose, they can construct behavior, actions, and in these cases, political structures. I consider Islamic Republic as a discourse of political religion. And so according to this discourse, if we want to consider its main nodal points or that sun in galaxy, I remind, so this nodal point can be the kind of believing in final truth. I borrowed this concept from Michel Foucault, when he tried to explain the concept of discourse. So the nodal point of Shiism actually is believing in the combination of politics and religion, or politics and spirituality. There is no way in 12 Shiism that we can separate them from each other. So this is the ontological basic and nodal point of 12 Shiism that is referred to the presence of Imam as the legitimate and the only legitimate governor for society. This is that also Shiism that Henry Corbin called it Iranian Islam, and he believed that there is a kind of a specific of spirituality, political actions, and many things. So at the heart of this meaning system, there is Imam, that he is responsible for the both spiritual salvation and also political liberation. Because in this political system, in Iranian political system, you cannot separate the political liberation from religious salvation. They are both combined together simultaneously. And from this perspective, as I said, that this is the presence of Imam at the nodal point as the governor. So they believe that. And the interesting difference between this kind of political religion in Islamic Republic of Iran and what Hannah Arendt called them the political religion. When Hannah Arendt was talking about political religion, he mentioned some ideologies that they were sacralized. But here in 12-verse Shiism, this is not just ideology. This is a religion that also it has the features of politics. And this is the politics that can sacralize many profane things. And it is the interesting thing about the 12-verse Shiism and also Islamic Republic as a discourse in Iran. My means that here in this discourse, this is the politics that can sacralize all the other elements, because the politics is the spiritual and the spiritual is the politics. And I'm going to explain it too. So as I explained already, Imam is the only legitimate ruler, and in Shia, they believe that according to Henry Corbin, we cannot just reduce the Shiism and their differences with Sunnism just to the Saqifa, that what happens in Saqifa day after the death of Prophet Muhammad. Actually, it is the difference between Zahir and Batin. It is the concept that Henry Corbin used, and I wish I had more time to explain them. According to this, I borrowed the concept and also political spirituality as the third concept that I used here in this research. I borrowed it from Foucault. Foucault, for the first time, used this concept, political spirituality, when he traveled to Iran in 1979 before Islamic Revolution in Iran, and he called this revolution as a political spirituality practice. Although he later take back this word, but I concentrate on this concept, and I just want us to know that what is the political spirituality in Iranian Shiism in Islamic Republic of Iran. Foucault believed that the spirituality, we cannot consider spirituality separated apart from political structure, because a spirituality as a source of power. And also, this is just like a political structure and political power. They try to control bodies. And what the concept that Foucault used for this, when he is talking about the religion, he used the docile body about the religion and spirituality. So both of them, political structure and also spirituality, they are the matter of a certain system of control. And they are the source of power, and they can reproduce and construct knowledge. And here in this course, we have the reality that the spiritual is political and the political is spiritual. And both are dissolved in the power of discourse. So the nodal point in Islamic Republic of Iran as a political religion based on the believing on Vilayat Faqih or Jewish guardianship as the nodal point, the main nodal point of this political religion. So it means that according to 12-verse Shiism, all these world government, they all illegitimate, but the government of Imam, and he is the only legitimate person that eternally chosen by God. He is infallible. He has the divine knowledge and blah, 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 blah. But in some circumstances, especially in occultation era, it means that there are 12 Imam and the last Imam Mahdi. He's currently, according to Shiism believing, he is in occultation and he is not present here. So the faqih or the jurist, Islamic jurist, according to Velayat Faqih, has this right to establish a government, to provide a good path for last Imam to be appeared here, and also he is the representative of the last Imam. So this is a kind of a relationship between, in one of my paper, I mentioned that the 12 Shiism based on imagination. You cannot separate a 12 Shiism, especially in Iran, from imagination, a spirituality, imagination. Both of them, all of them, the believing in the last Imam, that his absence, occultation era, and try to construct imaginations to reproduce its political power. So this is the sentence of Khomeini that he mentions, that the purpose of establishing the government of Julius and laying the ground were for the emergence of the promised Mahdi that handled over this government. But the interesting thing that the argument that Khomeini made to convince people about the theory of Velayat Faqih is very interesting. He said that this is the Velayat Faqih is a thing that you even just think about it, it can be possible. And in Persian, it says that everything that you just imagine it, so it's real, that's it. And this is all the, the first argument of Khomeini in his book. This is the sentence. And although he tried to argue about this according to the rational or hadith or another sources of Shia rules, but it was the main approach of Khomeini. So in each discourse that I mentioned, that they are just like the galaxy, they are always the others. All discourse, that is a natural thing, that all discourse, they need two others to survive. And we called it the otherization process. In Iranian Shiism, the otherization process is completely antagonistic. It means that the radical antagonism that we called it, according to Shiism, they called it taballa and tabarra. And also the Fisher called is a black and white approaches. In this discourse, according to political religions believing in these systems, the one of the main elements in this system is Karbala paradigm. This is not my concept. This is the concept of Fisher, one of the American Islamologists. This is way that the Shiism as the political religion get death as the completely natural thing and articulated to a sacred thing. But when they can sacralize death, when they consider it according to the political purpose, it means that this is the political purpose that can, or political spirituality that can sacralize the dead. And also the culture of martyrdom is another element of this discourse, and also political awaiting and activism in the occultation era, although there are some various disciplinaries in this approach. But the main problem about the political religion, regardless of its representation in the Nazism, fascism, communism, or every political religion, is two things that we can make us worry. The belief in this, that there is a final truth that in these discourses, and it can make that it can remain the possibility of criticism and protest in this discourse, because it sacralized politics, and also it sacralized the ruler and governor. So there isn't any way that you can criticize the leaders, governor, or the political attitude of this system, because already they have been considered as the sacralized thing. And also, in this discourse, the discourse of political religion radically construct, it can justify violence against the other. Every person, everything, every place that consider as the other for this discourse, they can be easily demolished. And also, Hannah Arendt mentioned us in Nazism, they dehumanize their the others. For example, what they did with Jewish people, they dehumanized them because they consider them as the others. And then when you dehumanize your other, so you can easily do violence against them and justify and even sacralize this justification. So I am a limitation of time. I know that I'm out of my time and apologize. So I try to explain very compact, analyzing about how we can consider Iranian Islamic revolution as a discursive of political religion and political spirituality. And I really appreciate and apologize for. You should turn on your microphone.
No apologies needed, dear Zahra Khanum. You did very well in terms of using your time very wisely. I ask my question first to you as to start this Q&A session here. Since you are the last speaker, let me pose a question to you.
Sure.
And I wonder how you, or whether you have tried to do a comparison between modern political states and the old ones, and whether you use the term theocracy for such states that use religion as the ideology, state ideology, and I mean, it's a totalitarian ideology that covers the state running and also everything in every aspect of society, as you mentioned. So how do you distinguish, or are they different from old theocracies that we had experienced in the past? And is there any other political state that you can compare Iran with currently at present? So that is another question. I mean, maybe, but
would you please repeat your second question? I'm sorry.
It's not a second question. It's part of that. How is there any other state, religious, political, or political religious state that you see similar characteristics right now in the world to Iran, or is this mostly Shiism?
No, it's a very good question. Let me just start with your second question. So that's about the political religion, and the main common thing about the what we call political religion is that they're trying to sacralizing ideology, and also the believing in a final truth, and also radical otherization process that we called it antagonism. You can find this kind of political religion, for example, in communism, or also in modern era, you can find it in religious fundamentalism, Christian, Jewish, or Muslim, and especially you can find it in ISIS ideology, Taliban ideology, Al-Qaeda ideology, and also Islamic Republic of Iran. They are the modern representations of political religion in Middle East and in this era. Yes, this is not just Islamic Republic of Iran. they are the others. But for the first time, Hannah Arendt mentioned and used this to explain the concept of totalitarianism. And she believed that this kind of political religion, that she never used the concept of theocracy, because when we are talking about the theocracy, we are just talking about the religion. But here, this is the concept of ideology and how religion can find the ideological functions. This cannot be theocracy. And also, Hannah Arendt explained us that although the Nazism and fascism, they are not religion, but because they have the very strong believing system in their final truth, we call them religion. And it was what the Hannah Arendt explained to us. We cannot call them theocracy according to this, because this is not just a matter of religion. It's more a matter of ideology and politics than religion.
Right.
And I mentioned in Iranian case, this is the politics that can even sacralize religion. It's a very interesting thing in this discourse. And you said that how we can call them the comparison about the modern political states. So, in Islamic Republic of Iran, they believe that they are trying to revive the true roots of Shiism. And also you can find it in another political religion, in Sunnism, in ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Taliban, because they believe that they are reviving forgotten tradition and Islamic things. They believe that they are modern because they are used from the modern institutions, presidential, parliament, parties, blah, blah, blah. But they are in the service of reviving a very and completely traditional and old governing rule. This is a combination of both. We can say that this is the representation of old patterns in new institutions, just like Islamic Republic of Iran.
Thank you very much. Let me move to the next speaker, a question for Dr. Leyla Hajimehditajer. You also do comparative study of religions, right? Can you say something about the differences in terms of perceiving or conceptualizing love in religions other than Islam, or mystic traditions other than that of Maulana? How do they see love or perceive it the same or differently? And also, another related question is, since Maulana tried, Rumi or Maulavi tried to stay away from binary understanding of things, especially of the world, and what was his conception or approach toward, in terms of earthly life, what love I'm talking about, not divine love, about non-binary relationship, sexual relationship, love as a sexual love, earthly love, between also not only heterosexual but homosexual love.
Yes, actually, I go for the first question. Actually, this book, published by Oxford University, is Love.
Okay.
Love as Common Ground, published. This is a project that I also participate in, Love Religion project. And there are different religion here, like by Rabbi or Prince Qazi from Islam, and other scholar who specifically focus on love in different religion. And my contribution is in the chapter of Islam from his perspective. So I would share with the audience the link for this book if you want to just focus very precisely. But for example, if I just want to about when you compare love in Rumi's perspective with, for example, Hinduism, I can say that in Rumi's perspective, love is different than other things. So, for example, if you first you find first you want to know something and then you find it, but to Rumi, it's different. The approach is different. So this is like the difference between Hinduism and Rumi's aspect, for example. So Rumi believes that first you find the beloved or the friend, and then you will realize who is that person. Okay, so you fall in love, and then this is very interesting that it's different. But for example, in Hinduism, the concept of self is really important, but in Sufism, we have self-knowledge and beauty. So they add these two concepts if we want to compare, but there are so many similarity. Of course, the differences are so much, but it's not easy to find similarity, but I found it very similar concept about love in Hinduism and Islam, especially Sufi literature, of course, in Buddhism, Christianity. So there are different aspects, but somehow, if you want to compare, you have something to compare with Rumi's perspective and other religions. So it's like, I believe that it is universal. And if I want to go back to your second question about that, about the like gender and sex, actually, love, I tried my best to talk academically and provide you some good evidence. Rumi's perspective in love is different. It's beyond that sex or gender, but I like the idea that he mentioned. He acknowledged every kind of earthly love. So as all of us know, there are different type of love. We have romantic love, spiritual love, self-love, friendship love, love of parents, love for children, even love of others, love of neighbors. According to Aristotle, we have 7 different type of love. But when you read Masnavi, you can feel that all love are included, all type of love is included. And for example, in the only one verse that I share with you, he mentioned about in Farsi language, we do not have gender, right? So if in the translation, it was, if you don't have the beloved, why not go and seek her? That is the Nicholson's translation. Actually, in Farsi, there is no gender. So I don't want to, purify Rumi's perspective, but definitely he believes that no matter what is your beloved situation, sex, gender, or anything, there is this possibility that you elevate yourself to one level up. For example, they ask Majnun, how come you fall in love with Leyla? Because Leyla is not beautiful. There are thousands of beautiful woman in this town, but Majnun said, I see something inside. I mean, like, it's not appearance. I can see something from Leyla that is not shared with others. So definitely Rumi's perspective also should be beyond of that gender and surface.
Good enough. Thank you very much. And let me move to Dr. Heydarkhani, Maryam. Do you think that the the mosques, especially that you talked a lot about, that how they have transformed into political locations. They have been politicized, especially in since you said Safavi era or Qajar, even during the Qajar time.
Yeah, if I want to explain a little bit more, since
Yeah,
from
but let
Safavid
me
era,
finish my question. So maybe when you are answering, to consider that how gendered these architectures have been, especially with regard to mosques. Are they like special places for women, given that especially in current times, it's so sex segregated, gender segregated? How accessible the mosques are to women in comparison to men? Just the gender dimension of this, the politics of mosque and that specific architecture. And the second question is the role of power and control, as you mentioned, also even fighting over who owns this mosque or this place, or whether this should stay as a mosque or turn into a kilisa, a church, or kenisa. There have been like still fighting over certain places in India, for example, who owns, who controls. In Israel, I know that there are certain architectures that still there are rivalry and fight over who belongs to whom and who should control it, who should have the key to enter even into those structures.
thank you. If you want to go to your three questions, and as I understand, I think from Safavid period, the former religion changed from Sunni to Shiism. So from that era, madrasas became a center for education, the new religion. So in Qajar period, in continue of that, they became a center for a new religion, for Shiism. And but by the Qajar era, the identity of Shiism became more clarified, and the power of ulama gained a lot by the completion of the theological framework about velayat faqih or niyabat imam. Also because they became very wealthy because of the homes and waqf. So during the Qajar period, ulama became so much powerful. And madrasas at the first were based for them that their ruler, like Fatah Ali Shah, give them the control over the madrasas. So they became more powerful. So during the half of the Qajar period, they were so much powerful that they could compare to the power of the rulers during the Nasiruddin Shah. So as they became more powerful, and at the same time, public ceremonies that became more public with the integration of mosque of madrasa together, they became more public areas, and the public that they became to the ceremonies by the control of ulama. So they had also a social power. So they became so much powerful. They had the wealthiness, they have the social support. So they became so much powerful. And during this time, because we had a kind of separation of and competition between ulama and the rulers all together, and public was in between. So, and madrasas were the base for the ulama. So madrasa and mosque, they're both together. They became so much a religious hubs for the people and at the same time political center for ulamas, it became so much more political at the end of era that there were so much contradictions between ulama and the state, like in tobacco protest or constitutional revolution. So from the first they were political, but the symbol of the politic that they support became different from the rulers to the ulama and people. So for the second question about women, by the integration of mosque to the madrasas, women could come to the madrasas. But before then, they were mainly men who could come through the madrasas. But by the public ceremonies, women could also join to these spaces. So, for example, and in the Waqfnameh, it was mentioned in some of them that some spaces were considered especially for women, like in some places of the mosque during the madrasas, or also in Turkey, because in Turkey even women could come more than mosque, because in mosque there were some rules that in some women in their period they can't come, they can't enter or something like that. But in Turkey they can come and they didn't have any problem. They could come there in any time. So, and they became one of the main supporter of ulamas, also attendance of the religious ceremonies for like Muharram. So by that, we can see some features of the madrasas also change. We do have like some special entrance for women that they could access the places in the architecture. But before that, it was not like that. And we can't see like the presence of women in madrasas at all. And the third question, actually, I forgot your third question after that.
About fighting over places, so different.
Oh, the fighting over places
structure.
became so much important, especially during the constitutional era, because madrasas were the place that they were very wealthy, especially some of them. The main madrasa and mosque in the city, it was the most wealthy place of the city. So because of the waqf, because of the deeds that they had, they were so much wealthy. So powering through that or controlling through that, they should show all the public that we do have the power. So it became so much important. In some cities, even we do have fights between different group of ulamas to control over the madrasa, and at the same time,
Right.
the fight between the state and ulama to control over that. And we can see it's also like Marvi madrasa, one of the most important madrasas in Tehran during that time. The control of that became for constitutionalists and the one who opposed that, and also the state over the time of the constitutional revolution. So they actually, by controlling these places, they could show their power to the public. So, and at the same time, they were rich institutions, so they could support lots of events.
Right. Thank you very much. Let me read a question that is now posted from the audience. I think Dr. David Sminovitz is asking Dr. Heydarkhani. He says, thank you for your excellent talk. Do you find that the actual structure of the Qajar Madrasa encouraged greater public interest in the practice of religion and in spirituality? Or did it render religion simply more pervasive, more mundane, and less meaningful? Is there any evidence, whether circumstantial or quantifiable evidence, to answer either way you want to answer?
Unfortunately, I can't.
You can check the question
Yeah,
again
yeah,
yourself. Yeah.
It's a hard question to answer because you should know about their exact thoughts. But I think it's it has both ways. I think at some points we can see people become more religious in some ways, and they like to practice different kind of ceremonies or performances or practices. But at the same time, I think, especially not just because of this, because of the whole theological framework of that era, so they became less in depth. So by taqlid, they became so much more copying of their marja, and they don't think about that much. So it become much more like common in practice and doing in society or something like that. But it became at the same time less in depth, if I should say. And yeah, that's my answer to that. And I think at the same time we could see in both of this in the architecture too. We could exactly see how it affects architecture. So from the first, we can see grand mosque and madrasas for the ruler, and they became more, they had more hujras for a student, and they were more educational centers. But at the end of era, they became more smaller and with the portion of mosque more than madrasa for like public ceremonies, gathering, and not educational aspect of madrasas.
Very good. Okay, we have only 4 minutes left. Is there anything, any point you want to make, any of you three speakers? Because we don't have any more questions posted. Anybody wants to say something that didn't find their time to say?
There are actually 3 questions,
Sure.
Hazrat Tawhidi in the Q&A, if you want to go ahead.
Sure, let me see. For some reason, I have lost my, okay, here. Okay, Dr. David Sminovich, thank you, very helpful. I look for your publications, okay? Maryam Engel Tehrani, a question for Dr. Tajer. As you described, Rumi's philosophy of love is very modern and even kind of shocking for European raised conservatives. You included how he perceived in Iranian today. Are these texts censored or edited? Do you want to answer that question?
Yeah, thank you so much for asking me this question. I get some group. I think Dr. Khoshk maybe knows better in political situation, but yeah, in Iran the situation is like some group, they are against Rumi, but you know, I purposely introduce Rumi from his own language to avoid all of this, labeling. Even I want to back to Dr. Tohidi's question whether about gender, the way that Rumi introduced himself is like beyond all of these, discussions. So he didn't even introduce himself, not Muslim, not Iranian, not nobody. So I really wanted to show all of you that, yeah, this is his perspective. And he likes to invite us to look, to change our perspective and mindset even wider and just grow. If I answer your question, Mariana. Thank you so much for a good question.
Sure, thank you for your answer. I know that there are so much controversy around how to interpret the relationship between Molavi and Shams Tabrizi. So, I understand why you want to stay away from all those.
Yeah, but I didn't understand why for a European is shocking. Maybe you want to explain.
Right. Okay. The Dr. Mona Tajalli, Mona Jan Salam, as asking a question. She says, "Thank you for this. Could Dr. Khoshk please elaborate on the distinction between spirituality and religious, specifically with regards to the public and private divide? In other words, spirituality tends to also be understood on behalf of individuals, whereas religion is an institution and thus the source of rendering control and force. Many Iranians are identifying as spiritual as opposed to religious. What does that mean for the context of Iran?" Very good question.
Yes, it is actually a very good question, and thank you for such a wonderful question. At first, I should notice that the reason that they are not in contrast to each other, spirituality and religion. Religion can include spirituality or vice versa, so they are not in contrast to each other. And also, but we separate them in sociology of religion. When we are talking about the spirituality, as you mentioned, at the first, we should notice that both of them, they are the meaning system and believing system. And the meaning system is everything that can give us purpose, explanation, and make our life purposeful. Everything can be meaningful for us. So spirituality and also religion, both of them, they are meaning systems. But the most important difference between religion and spirituality, it's that spirituality is beyond institutions, but religion is completely related to institution, because this is the matter of practice, rituals, and also behaviors. Without institutions, you cannot imagine any religion. But spirituality is something, as you mentioned, personal and individual, that it doesn't need any institutions. In religion, there are many rituals, and in many of tradition religion, means Abrahamic religion. Many of these rituals, they are collective and they need a mediator. But in spirituality, you do not need a specific ritual or also mediator. It's completely a self-referential approach in spirituality, but not religion. And also it's about the purposes. As we know that all of the religions, theistic or atheistic religions, they are try to achieve the salvation for their followers. But the spirituality is not looking for salvation. Actually, it's for a system of morality, self, peace, and something like this. This is there is a difference between religion and spirituality. I appreciate it again.
Yeah, and you mentioned that very well. Thank you. And let me finish with the one remark that Marianne Engel Tehrani, Miss Tehrani, has added to, sorry, my text had some misspellings. So ruminate, I guess she's talking about Rumi, as all great philosophers, is a danger. It's a danger to those who are in power because he's free. So that's her comment. And I want to thank everybody and especially our speakers, for the wonderful presentations they offered here. And nice to meet you all. And thank you, Dr. Badami, Badima, sorry, Dr. Badima. And thank you, Dr. Behdad, for everything. And thank you, Shirin, or Sir Jairan, actually, Jairan,
Yeah.
Abby.
Well, it's us to thank you, Nayara Jan. It was wonderful, and thank you for moderating this. We're really grateful also to the speakers. Really, three wonderful talks, and it was really our pleasure at the center to really host you and welcome you and plan this. I wanted to, you know, also thank the Global Academy, especially Saren, who really helped us organize it. I just wanted to add, though, this little piece of information about the Global Academy in case you're not familiar with. The MESA's Global Academy is an interdisciplinary initiative that sustains essential research, collaboration, and knowledge production among scholars in the humanities and social sciences from the Middle East and North Africa and their counterparts outside the region. And the Global Academy supports displaced scholars in the humanities and social sciences whose work fall within Middle Eastern studies broadly defined. This is really an amazing project that was created several years ago, and we're very delighted to be a member of it and support it and plan events for it. And I especially want to acknowledge my former colleague and dear friend Asla Bali,
Yeah.
who is now currently the president of MESA, but whose vision really founded this after actually launching a program of this sort, and well, a Scholars at Risk program, not the Global Academy style, here at UCLA, which we have been fortunate to continue on, and hopefully we will be able to if the funding comes true for it. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Will be great. That will be great. Yeah. Okay, shall we say goodbye to everyone?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. I
so
really appreciate this golden opportunity that you provide us, and specifically me. It was a very good opportunity for me. I'm really grateful of it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Same with me. Thank you so much, MESA and UCLA. I really appreciate from the bottom of my heart.
Our pleasure.
Thank you.
Take
Thank you,
care.
everybody. Good night.
Thank
Thank
you.